I can.
How's it going?
Good. Sorry, I my phone was on vibrate mode and I
No
got
worries.
yeah. But how did your showing go?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Not a place that they want.
Hmm.
I told them that I wouldn't buy it, so.
Oh, that's all. That's well. It's. I bet you they appreciate the honesty.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So what's going on?
Oh, did you have a chance to watch that playlist that I sent you? Or?
I have no.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Um, yeah, it's just like I just some of my like I upload some videos to YouTube and nobody ever watches them because I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe it's boring or something, but yeah, I watched a documentary on David Milgaard
Yeah.
and Gail Miller murder. And
Okay.
I remember, like, before I watched the documentary, I had asked my dad about it, and I think I mentioned to you that I asked my dad why they went after the wrong guy and stuff, and
Yeah.
he says he has no idea why they did that or whatever, but then I watched the documentary, and the documentary said that it was the Saskatoon police that actually coerced Milgaard's two friends into testifying against Milgaard
That's right.
because
Yeah.
they were in fear from the police because the police threatened to pin the murder on them if they didn't testify against their friend Milgaard.
Right.
But there was a whole bunch of stuff that didn't add up. Like it was minus 52 when that nurse, Gail Miller, was raped and murdered and then thrown in the snowbank. And
Yeah.
they like it actually, like, the David Milgaard's mom actually got a private investigator to investigate it.
Yeah.
Um, but they figured that she had to have been raped inside of a car, because they said that nobody could rape someone at minus 52 degrees. It's too cold, right? So,
Right.
but the funny thing is that David Milgaard never had a car. Like his car was broken down at the time.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, they still sent Milgaard to jail for 23 years, and um, Milgaard's mom actually wrote a book and talked about all the stuff her son went through. Like David Milgaard actually escaped jail twice, and one of the times, the first time he escaped, they brought him back to the jail and they gave him a brutal beating, and they'd actually put him in solitary confinement and
Right.
they would throw tear gas in his cell, and Milgaard would have to put his face in the toilet and put a towel over his head
Oh my God.
so that the tear gas wouldn't burn his eyes.
Right.
And and the second time he escaped from jail, I guess he made it all the way to Toronto or something, and then when they caught up with him, the police caught him in Toronto, the Toronto police, and they found him in the woods, and Milgaard had put his hands up. He didn't have a gun on him. He didn't have a gun on him, and he put his hands up, and the Toronto police shot him in the back. And then they brought him back to jail. He survived, and but yeah, he attempted suicide several times in jail,
Yeah.
and just a horrifying thing to that an innocent person. And it was just funny that my dad, was a he. My dad never told me that it was the Saskatoon police um and none of the and Milgard ended up getting like $10 million settlement, and none of the police officers ever lost their jobs, even though they admitted that he was innocent, and he was you know he
Yeah,
was framed.
but did they know he was innocent? Like, when something like that goes, it's kind of like a pack mentality, right? I would think.
Well, they're saying that the Saskatoon police framed him,
Okay.
and and that
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Pack mentality. Yeah, this is the guy fucking do it.
yeah. And then my dad said that after my dad said then they eventually got the right guy or whatever, and then I was looking up this guy Larry Fisher or whatever, who had a whole bunch of, like, I can't remember what it was, like the 29 rapes and murders for on one guy. Like how could like that just that kind of was. I was like, how could one guy commit 29 rapes, and I don't know how many murders that were a part of that, but I was just like, that seems kind of a little bit odd that one guy could have that many rapes pinned on him or whatever.
Right.
And then yeah, and then there was a, yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start, but um yeah, just this, just I don't know why my dad, like the documentary says, that it, like David Milgard's mom actually hired a private investigator
Yeah.
who uncovered all this stuff about the police, um and and yeah, like it's just funny that my dad should have told me what the documentary told me, is that the Saskatoon Police Department, um
Yeah, but that happened, so, who cares? Like, that's from your dad's past. He was already in West Van when all that shit was happening.
no, he was in traffic. He was a police officer, and he was in traffic in working for the Saskatoon Police Department at the time of Gail Miller's murder, rape and murder.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was in 1960.
But your dad wouldn't necessarily know that because he had already moved, changed provinces. So he wasn't in the know. And if he was in traffic, how the fuck does he know what murder investigations are doing, right?
Well, he knew the lead detective in the case.
Oh, of course.
Um,
But he's not going to be privy
but
to any of the information.
well, I think he probably, I mean, like as a police officer, I think you would be privy to that information,
I don't know.
huh?
I don't know.
But yeah, yeah, it was just funny because my dad was like, I said to my dad, I said, this was after he's telling me there was no similar murders, and rapes and murders, but apparently there were a whole string of unsolved rapes and murders, um, yeah, he said that um, yeah, like he said he didn't know why the Saskatoon police went after the wrong guy or whatever. Well, as a police officer, I mean, I think you're part of it. You're obviously you're obviously working on the case as a group effort. The police are working on the case as, as a group effort. They're obviously discussing the details of the case with other police officers, right?
But not somebody in Toronto. Everyone.
Yeah, but he did say that he knew the lead detective on the case at that time.
Sure.
So he'd obviously talked with the detective and stuff, and yeah, it turned out that the police um, were really pushing to get this, like the most important testimony that was given was from David Milgaard's friends, and who were pressured by the police to say, look, if you don't testify against Milgaard, they're gonna, you're gonna get this pinned on you or something. But yeah, like the DA, like there, David Milgaard's mother went to the Chief Justice, and there was all these cameras around, and they videoed her, and she said to Joyce, David Milgaard's mom, she said, if you want your son to have a fair trial, don't approach me and speak about his case with me. And the public was outraged when she said that to him. Like it was, or who said that to her? It was Chief Justice. I think her name was Karen McDonald or something. But yeah, the public, when they heard the way that she spoke to David Milgaard's mother, yeah, they were outraged because she came there to speak to her about her son's case, and she said, yeah, like if you want your son to have a fair trial, don't approach me about his case. And it was just like, oh man, yeah, like it was. They treated David Milgaard's mother with so much disrespect, for wanting to talk to the case, and well, I mean, it was great that he was finally released from jail, but after 23 years, the Saskatoon Police Department has a lot to answer for, for about that, and the fact that none of the DA, the judges, the police, none of them lost their jobs, and none of them, got any, and they should have lost their jobs. They should have lost their jobs for sending an innocent man to jail for 23 years. You know what I mean? Like that was, and then my dad just kind of played dumb. He played dumb and he said, "Oh, I didn't know. I don't know why." Well, I think he knows a lot more. And I thought, and I just think that if you're a girl that's dating a police officer, like the police officers at Saskatoon, like just like here in Penticton, like my wife Marina works at the hospital, and yeah, the police are always at the hospital. Like the police are always at the hospital, and they're always interacting with nurses and doctors and stuff. So the police get to know the nurses. You'd think that since the police are always interacting with nurses, the nurses would be safe because they've got this extra protection. They're associated with police officers and stuff. But apparently, the nurses in Saskatoon were not safe because they were getting raped and murdered. It just doesn't. and then my dad's, ex-girlfriend or whatever. Um, yeah, like I went, I taught, yeah, like if you watch that video that I made, like I went to the police and I said, look, I went to Staples and I printed out a bunch of these photographs, like high quality photographs. I spent like $25, and then I printed out all these high quality photographs, and then I wrote out a statement saying that, I'm not going to be a part of any cover up or anything, and I think those photos. Well, I didn't show them the photo of my aunt because because I just showed them the one photo of my mom, and I said I think that's my mom. And the police phoned me back, and I thought they were gonna say, okay, thanks for the information. We'll see if this has any validity to it or not, and we'll continue our investigation. That's not what they said to me. They said based on this statement, we think you're mentally unwell. And that proved to me that the police are covering it up, because that's completely inappropriate to say that. They couldn't name one. I said to them, what specifically was it that first I said, you know what, you guys couldn't catch a cold. I said to the police officer after they told me that they thought I was mentally unwell. And it just points to this being a huge cover up, and the police are involved. And I think the police committed those murders, the police officers. And anybody that covers it up by lying about the identity of a photograph, like when you like
But they caught the guy. They caught the murderer.
well, I don't think I don't think I don't think I think since they put the wrong guy in prison for 23 years, I don't believe that they did catch the real criminal. I don't think it was Larry Fisher. I don't think Larry Fisher had what, 29 rapes pinned on him or something, and he was in jail. That's too many for one person. I think. I think he was the fall guy, is what I think. And I think the fact that the police are calling my mental stability into question after I give them some information, I think it just points to a cover up. And I think the police are involved, and and I don't think they want to go after the real criminals, because the real criminals are the how they back. You've heard back the blue. They're members of the fraternal order of police officers.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. So that means that, I mean, if there are some good cops out there, well, they're gonna protect the bad cops.
Well, maybe that's why your dad moved to BC.
Well, I asked my parents why they moved to BC, and they said they wanted to explore the world or something. But I think there's more to the story as to why, you know.
Well, that's the business you always have to support. It's really tough for a cop to turn in another cop. Maybe your dad says, fuck, I gotta get out of this fucking...
Well, yeah, and you know, yeah, it's just funny, I think police officers, they carry. I think the fact that they're in love with their guns, and they gotta, it goes straight to their head. It's when someone's in a position of power, it corrupts people, I think.
What are they talking about?
Huh?
You will respect my authority.
Thank you, Ken, for throwing in a joke, because oh my god, I thought I might, sometimes sometimes I do appreciate a good joke,
But,
and
I don't know. If
yeah.
if your dad knew about the corruption, then he distanced himself. You
Well,
know,
I think it's more than that. I think he was a part of the corruption because of the way he's trying to minimize, the Saskatoon's police the involvement in the Gail Miller murder. And I think the documentary that I saw completely blamed the Saskatoon Police Department, and my dad didn't didn't say that the Saskatoon Police were to blame at all. Which is quite a different story from what I saw in that documentary.
it just takes two bad cops, the ones that are doing the questioning. The good cop and the bad cop, and yeah, there's fucking corruption. I mean, yeah, there is everywhere. But, you know, if you have one person in a bank, look at that Middle Eastern kid that looked up Trudeau and Carney's, bank records and disclosed them.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that your sister was involved because she's in banking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many people would have been on the police force for a town of, I don't know, maybe 100,000 people back then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny, nobody, like nobody really. But I think most people like my sister doesn't want to talk to me at all about any of this. Um, but um, but yeah, it just yeah, I mean, I guess people sometimes people who are involved don't want to say anything to about, like, they don't want to a lot of anybody that accuses the police of committing crimes. Well, it's kind of, if you're accusing the police of being the ones that have committed the crimes in the past, then I don't think you're gonna get the police to help you out at all, and especially when the person, like what's a woman gonna do if she's married to a cop and the cop is abusive towards her? What's she gonna do? What is she gonna call the cops and tell them that a fellow police officer is doing bad stuff? I don't think she can. It's a total conflict of interest as far as I'm concerned. I honestly would rather have bulletproof robot police officers in charge, because I don't think humans uh, I think humans are too easily corrupted when they play with guns, And I think my dad played with guns as a kid. He sold guns as a kid. He worked at a gun store. He was in the military reserves as an 18-year. Like, what is the Navy? What is the Navy doing in Saskatchewan? I thought the Navy was on the water. Like, why is the Navy in Saskatchewan carrying around guns? You know, and I think my dad's girlfriend that I saw photos of my mom. I saw photos of my Auntie Hazel with this girl, and they're all lying about ever. I never had a chance to talk to my Auntie Hazel, and I don't really want to talk to my Auntie Hazel about this. I'd rather talk to my mom and dad. I'd rather get the truth straight from my dad, and my mom, and every time I talk to them about this, You know, my mom says, "Do you want us to go to jail and all this?" And I don't want my parents to. I've never. That was the last thing I'd want. I want. But when the evidence is staring at me right in the fucking face, and then I see, and and this was before you could Photoshop photos and stuff like that, right? And then when I talk to my dad and I say to my dad, well, what if I showed that photo to Tanya and Terrell? And he goes, why? And he gets all mad and he goes, why are you bringing this up? He says, why? Don't you dare show that photo to, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? That just proves his fucking guilt as far as I'm concerned.
No, he doesn't want you to maybe make a fool out of yourself by,
Well, you know what?
say, no, that's not my mom.
Well, Ken, when you're at the grocery store and you see the magazines, like the tabloids and stuff, or just a regular magazine, you see somebody famous, you see a picture of Taylor Swift on a magazine. Now I don't listen to Taylor Swift, but I know who she is. I can identify, like when I see a picture of her, I don't need it to say, "Oh, this is Taylor Swift." I can just tell. That's what humans can do. We can identify somebody from a photograph, and it's because we can recognize, like, if we know somebody, we've seen them before, we can recognize them and say, hey, like, if I saw you, like, when if I saw you walking down the street, Ken, I would recognize you.
So I have Grandma and Grandpa's. You remember your mom made an album for everybody? She made discs for all family members. Do you have that?
Does it have The Night Before Christmas, the one that your mom wrote, on it, or?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Do you have that, or did you ever find that? Because
I haven't come across it.
I remember hearing it as a kid, um, and I remember it kind of told a story of our family through because she changed, obviously, the words to The Night Before Christmas, and your mom made it up, Auntie Gayleen made it about our family, and it talks about how, I remember there's something about talking about why my mom and dad moved to British Columbia. But yeah, it was all in a nice long poem form that rhymed. And you must have heard that at one point, hey? Like you,
For sure. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember it. I just don't know if I have it. Ruby, the fuck? Let me see. Oh, come on, you were just outside.
Are you talking to your dog, or?
Yes.
That's okay. Can you want to call me back, or?
No, we're good.
Okay, cause
He's just being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Hey, find. What the fuck? Not a D-Link. I'm just gonna look in my hard drive, and I'm gonna see if I have anything that.
Did you ever watch that movie HUD, with Paul Newman in it? It's an old movie from the '60s, but I swear, Ken, I think it's about our family, and I think that there's an actor in that movie that plays Grandpa Bridges, and I think Paul Newman's character is supposed to be about my dad, and then. And whenever I say this to someone, they think I'm crazy, because they think, why would there be a movie movie about your dad or whatever, right? And I tell them, I said, well, my dad was involved in, he was associated with like back at that time there was one high profile murder that my dad was the boyfriend of a girl that was, that was associated with Johnny Cash and associated with my dad and stuff. And yeah, like every time I've asked my parents, I've asked my parents to tell me the whole story and everything, and yeah, there's parts of the story that my parents are like acting like they don't know, like certain things about it. When they should know that stuff because I know that Alex, before she was murdered, there's a photograph of her and Johnny Cash, and I know that just from researching it myself all these years later. And then my dad acts like he didn't know certain details about it, when like some obvious details like that he should have known. Like when I was talking about the David Milgaard murder, I said, what was that nurse's name that was murdered? And he goes, I think her name was Miller. Yeah, her name was Gail Miller. He should know her name. He should know her first and last name. Uh,
Yeah, but they're asking people to hook up pieces of their work. They're not thinking about this every fucking day. You're asking them to bring up something from 25 years ago, 50 years ago, for fuck's sake.
well,
You know,
this
I
was.
mean,
I mean, I'll like if I was that close to if I was, part of a police department and I was working on a very high profile rape and murder, yeah, I would definitely know the victim's first and last name. I wouldn't say, oh, I think her name was Miller. I wouldn't say that. I'd say her name was Gail Miller, because like I've watched a documentary on it. I just watched it recently, um yeah, like this. Yeah, no. It's just a whole bunch of stuff, Like I keep thinking up new stuff all the time that just doesn't make any sense, but yeah, like why would they, like why would they think that David Milgaard, who didn't even his car was broken down at the time, so he wouldn't have been able to like at minus 50, you like yeah, like you're gonna it's gonna the assault's gonna happen like in a car, at minus 50. Like it's not gonna happen like the coldest I've been is minus 30, and that was damn cold. That was damn cold. Like it was like too cold to walk around the block. Being outside in minus 52. Like I can. That's. I mean, you're gonna you won't you can't even walk a block in minus 52. If it is so cold that it's gonna like freeze you can't have like I don't know. It's just too cold to do anything outside, let alone rape somebody. You
right.
fucking freeze your fucking balls off before you're able to rape somebody.
Okay, so I'm
But
just going through photos here. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna text me your. Oh shit.
hmm,
Um, text me your. Text me your email address,
okay. Well,
and I'll send you a link to my drive. I'll share this with you. Grandma and Grandpa's. Oh, come on.
Can you just text me the link, or because I don't
No,
know.
I don't know. I have to add you in. I don't think you can do it by phone. I think it has to be email, but let me see.
What is it? A bunch of photos and stuff, or?
Well, Grandma and Grandpa's photo album that your mom made.
Mm.
And you would see some, you'd be able to see earlier pictures of your mom.
Well, I don't. This is what everybody says. That's good. It's good that you brought that up, Ken, because my mom showed me a photo of her when she was, 13 or something.
Yeah.
And honestly, it looks nothing like my mom. Like the photo of her. Like I think, and this is the part of the thing that makes me suspicious is that why did she why did she curl her hair? My mom has straight hair. Um, why did she curl? It looked like she colored it darker brown too, but yeah, like I don't need it to compare photos because it's easy to make yourself look like a different person in a photo. But like I know what my mom looks like. The photo that my mom sent me of her at that age looked actually less like my mom than the photo that I saw of that girl that was sitting in the passenger side seat of the car with the Alex, the girl that was raped and murdered. Yeah, like I mean, I know what my mom looks like, and yeah, I mean, I don't need to. Yeah, I don't need to compare any photos because the funny thing is like the photo that she sent me of Auntie Hazel at that age doesn't look anything like Auntie Hazel. Like Auntie Hazel, I think, and my mom both made an effort to make themselves look like completely different people in their photos at that age, which means that they knew about those photos, and they were trying to distance themselves from looking anything like themselves. Like I mean, um, but yeah, like it's if that's not my mom, and if that's not my Auntie Hazel, then they both have two people that look exactly like them in the same town in the same province in Canada, which is the odds of that are like one in over a million,
Right. Oh, good.
and yeah, it's just like what if you're gonna leave a trail of breadcrumbs after you commit a murder or whatever, you better try to cover up your tracks because like if there's evidence, like if the evidence is obvious, then that just means that I guess murder is now legal, for police officers. You know what I mean? Like it's just I think I think my dad thought he was above the law. I think he thought he would never get caught for any of this stuff. But frig, I mean, I figure I have enough um, information about this that it's pretty damning. It's pretty goddamn damning evidence as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the lying, that's part of the evidence. That lying about stuff like that. Like why, like what would happen if they just said, yeah, that is I did know that is a picture of your mom. with the murdered girl, and that is a picture of your aunt with the murdered girl. If they said that, then what would happen? Like, they don't even want to say that that's them because
Well, I don't think it is them. Myself.
Okay.
Dennis got married at a pretty young age.
Well, then if you don't think it's them, then why do you think my dad got so upset for saying, like, you know what, I'm willing to I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong about those photos, but if my dad doesn't want me to show those photos to Tanya and Terrell because he's afraid that they will say, yeah, you know what, that does look a lot like Brenda and Hazel. Then
I think you should send me your email address. I want to share this folder with you on my hard drive. And you can go through those photos and look at younger pictures of Dennis. That's not Hazel. Certainly not Hazel, and I don't think that's your mom.
it is Hazel. It is Auntie Hazel because if you look at the jaw, you look at you try to eliminate. You look at every little thing about the part of the, like, the face and the twinkle in the eye and the jawline and stuff and the color of the skin, like the whiteness of the, like, she's very like white, you know, she looks like a, you know, yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ken. I mean, I'm like, you know, I mean, when I saw that photo of my mom, I knew that was my mom. Now, I haven't seen my mom smile like that ever in my life, but I know that's my mom. And yeah, I know that's Annie Hazel too, and my dad's the connection because here's the thing: the police never were able to figure out who those two girls were. Isn't that funny? It's a big mystery that nobody knows who those two girls are. The police couldn't.
When you go onto that website that the sisters have put together, that's where you got those photos. Why don't you ask them who those women are?
No, I don't need to. I know who I can tell that's Annie Hazel, Ken. That's my mom, and that's Annie Hazel, Ken. Like, look at those photos. That's them.
The reason why your dad didn't want you to send those to Tanya and Terrell is because, no, that's not her mom. Why are you asking? And then you would have had to go into this story. He didn't want maybe for you to make a fool out of yourself.
Why would it make me a fool? Why would it make me look like a fool?
Well,
because I'm wrong about a person. Like, if I saw.
No, but you're telling the story of what, you know, I think my dad is involved in this and da 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 da. You know?
Well, when I showed those photos to my sister said, "Oh, Auntie Hazel looks really young," and I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, friggin' eyeshadow. Like, you know, like, why is an 11-year-old wearing eyeshadow, Ken? You know what I mean? Whoever those girls were, you know, they were you know, hanging out, you know, I don't know why you can't tell, you can't recognize those girls, because I recognize them. I know, yeah, like, yeah, it's when I saw those photos, I thought right away, that was the first thing I thought of, was that's my mom and that's my Auntie Hazel. I'm not gonna pretend like something else is going on, and I'm like, you know, and then, like, you know, my dad says, "Oh, you're delusional, you're paranoid." Those are all things a guilty person would say to a person who's accusing them of a crime, and they've got no alibi, they've got no response. All they can do is say, "You're crazy, you're delusional." It just further proves their guilt, Ken. Further proves it.
don't know.
But Ken, how about this? How about this, Ken? How about this? If Why don't you watch that playlist I sent you? Um, it's like about a half an hour worth of video. It's like 4 videos that are each like, 5 or 10 minutes long. And then yeah, just it's like I made that video a few days ago, and I don't know how much friggin' I bet you if I had like 5,000 pages of evidence, I don't think the police would even want to entertain it, because they are the ones who deserve to be punished. There's all sending innocent people to jail, while the police are gallivanting around committing murders. This is major crime. This is high crime. Like these are crimes that go against humanity, and it goes against civilization. And yeah, I think my dad's a fucking asshole and an evil fucker. And I think he's a murderer, and I think he's a rapist, and I think he's a pedophile. And every time I bring this up, everybody says I'm crazy. Well, you know what? I won't. Not on my watch. I'm not going to live in a world where people are committing all kinds of crimes. They're not getting punished for it, and just because they're police officers, they're getting away with it. Well, no, I won't stand for this. I'm going to stand up for and I don't care if it kills me. I don't care if the police come and kill me, because it could happen. There's a guy. I don't know, like if you saw this, but yesterday in Minnesota there was a guy that was killed by border agents, and he got tackled to the ground by about 10 border agents, and he ended up getting shot, and he just had it was like an execution, and so I was watching that too, but yeah, like it's yeah, the police officers are the worst of the worst. They are, and they get away with murder, and they pin, like, how could you pin 29, like Larry Fisher? He wasn't the guy. No, how could one guy have like 29 rapes on his record or whatever? No, they're he like well,
if he's doing it for a couple of years, that's one a month.
yeah, but how would he keep getting away with it? Why would the police not be able to catch him after 28 or 29? I think it's obvious to me that it's the police that were committing these murders, and they're pinning it on someone else, just like they tried to pin it on David Milgaard. The police are bullies. They're thugs, and and they deserve to be put under the jail.
Well, you're right. However, they're being held accountable now.
Well,
video and police
here's the thing, though. Yeah, but when it comes to body cam video that police officers have, they also have the ability to turn their cameras off. So that defeats the whole purpose of having a body cam. If a police officer can turn their body cam off, then at certain times, like certain times that maybe.
Also, when they turn their body cam off, they are also further scrutinized. Why did you turn this off? This is important stuff. And then, they can also be accused of destroying evidence.
Yeah, but who accuses? Who's scrutinizing them? Nobody. Like the police police themselves. If you go to the police and make a complaint against another police officer, you're gonna get nowhere. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ask for a complaint form where they file it right into the garbage? No, that's what they did to me. Like, so uh, yeah, like I mean, and I mean, like look at what's going on with like all the remember when they were gonna release the Epstein files or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they released them, and it was like most of the stuff was all blacked out. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
even, it was all redacted or whatever. Well,
Right.
well, how are you? How can you release something, but then like they're releasing it, but they're not releasing it, or what? Doesn't make any sense. And then, um, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if my dad's ever met Donald Trump before. I don't know. Maybe my dad's been to Epstein Island. I don't know. Jesus
Who
Christ.
knows?
Well, Jim Carrey went to Epstein Island, eh?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he was one of the guys that went to Epstein Island, Jim Carrey. And then Jim Carrey doesn't. He's been saying like he's gonna sue. Um, he wanted to sue if they were gonna release the flight logs or something because his name was on one of the flight logs or whatever. And so
Yeah.
he was gonna sue like a journalist or something or whoever was releasing the flight logs or whatever. So yeah, friggin' oh man, so corrupt. The world is so friggin' corrupt, and yeah, it's like I guess justice for some, but not justice for all. I guess.
Well, that's kind of what it is. But just know that right now, cops are being held more accountable today
By
than they ever
who?
have.
By who, Ken?
Well, by judges, by courts, but all you have to do is go onto YouTube and look up bad cops.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I mean, I'm
Some
just
cops realize they've been caught. Yeah.
well. I think that it gets to a point where there's so many cops involved that are covering up any bad deeds from other cops that they're all in it together and yeah, I don't like I think the police have a lot more influence with the district attorney and the prosecuting attorneys,
Yeah.
and the judges. What a judge is gonna believe a cop over a civilian every time, and the cop like how many times has like do cops lie about stuff? Like they lie all the time. Like um they'll say, oh, like I remember one time I was pulled over and the cop told me like I said, what are you pulling me over for? And he said to me, I could pull anybody over for anything, like he said, which is not, that's not the way it's supposed to be. But yeah, he said, like you could have a, what did he say? He said that I didn't have I didn't have a sticker on the back of my car or something like that. And then after he let me go, um, I was like thinking, what the fuck sticker is he talking about? What? And then I realized it was just bullshit. Like he was saying I needed some sticker on the back of my car, and what, not on my license plate, but like, oh man, it was just bullshit. And yeah, like you've seen, like, yeah, like a cop could take his billy club and just bust your tail light and say, yeah, you got a busted tail light.
Right.
um but yeah, I'm just gonna talk to him, like, I'm gonna, I want to find out what led up to him dating Joni Mitchell, and I mean, yeah, and what the story is about. Did you ever watch that movie HUD? I told you about that, eh?
No.
Yeah, like that movie, like I think it's about my dad and my mom, and then and people people are like people say, "Oh, why would that movie be about your parents or whatever?" I said, "Well,
Yeah.
in 1962 that was a very high profile murder that my dad was the boyfriend of, and then it's like um and then they're like, when people are like, "Oh, well, why would you care? It happened so long ago." And I'd say, "Well, it's a cold case file, but there's no statute of limitations on murder. As like so you can't just like forget about, oh, past is past or whatever. I don't, I'd rather dig up the
So why
past.
don't you
I'd rather change. I'd rather rewrite history, Ken.
why don't you contact the sisters?
Well, uh
They have
I don't
something.
you know what, the sisters for years and years have been getting stonewalled by the police.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the police are the ones that are doing it. That's what I think. Why would, like, the police are associated with nurses because the police are always going to the hospital. They're talking.
Yeah.
They've got kind of a they're keeping tabs on the people that work at the hospital and stuff. And then it's these nurses that are getting raped and murdered. Maybe
Right.
the um maybe they had a problem with how, like, there was a bunch of unsolved rapes and murders, and they weren't getting anywhere with it, and then they get raped and murdered. And then, like,
Well,
like,
they're
why,
still at higher risk too because they
huh?
get off at all. They're still at higher risk because they get off at all hours of the night. You know.
Well, I'll tell you, back in the 60s, I think women were a lot nicer and friendlier, and that, like, I think the modern women, they have like this thing that plagues their character. It's kind of like, it's called being a bitch sometimes. But I think back, and maybe that women were getting tired of getting raped and murdered, and then they kind of, like, now they're not as friendly anymore.
Yeah.
um and it's like, yeah, it's, I don't really, but yeah, I mean, it's frig, I wish there was like someone that policed the police. There was actually a video on the Fifth Estate that says who polices the police.
Right. So you have a picture of your who you say is your mom and Auntie Hazel. Why don't you send that picture to the girls' web or to the sisters' website and ask them, do you know who these people are?
Well, I don't know why I have to be like, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a private investigator, but why wasn't this done a long, long time ago? Why didn't they figure out who, you know?
It probably was done. That could be friends of the woman that was murdered.
Well, my dad knows who those girls are. He's married to one of them.
You're sure about that?
Well, who else could look that much like Auntie Hazel and my mom?
I
Who
don't think
who
they.
who could possibly
I don't
look
think.
that much like them and not
I
be?
don't think that's your mom, and I don't think that's Auntie Hazel. That's my opinion.
Well, what about those photos tells you that that's not them? Like, what? Like, is it the hair color, or is it
It
the?
doesn't look like Auntie. Number one, it doesn't look like your mom.
Well, my mom. Look at the nose. Well, who is it then? So it's like, so if it's not my mom and Auntie Hazel,
Some
they,
specific
you're
color.
telling me that the police never could figure out who those two girls were? I think they knew damn well who those girls were, and my dad married one of them.
So why
That's
don't you
that's my
ask them?
mom. Yeah, I know that's my mom, Ken, because you look at
Why
every,
don't
like,
you
you look
ask
at
the
the
sisters?
frame, the kind of the smaller boobs. You look at the nose, you look at the
So
the,
you're
the
saying
tuft of
you're
hair. My mom, My mom she wore like a, I guess, like a little scarf around her head or whatever, because she thought that that would be a good disguise or whatever. Well, I mean, I think I think my dad was not too bright taking those incriminating photographs. And if you take incriminating photographs, and you still think you're gonna get away with it, well, what the frig? I guess then everybody can get away with it. If some people can get away with it, why doesn't everybody allowed to get away with rape and murder, pedophilia?
So if your dad took those photos of Auntie Hazel and your mom,
Yep.
you pulled that off the sister's website. I saw the photo on the sister's website. Why would they have your dad's photo?
Well,
How would they get that?
well, they well, like obviously, they obviously had a copy of it somewhere.
Well, how would they have a copy? Their daughter gets murdered.
Well, it came from somewhere. The photo came from somewhere. My dad's the connection between, because he was the boyfriend of Alex. So the connection. So, and then the fact that my mom's in the photo, and the fact that Auntie Hazel's in the photo, that that to me tells the whole picture. You know.
Well, why don't you send send that photo to the sisters?
No, this.
Ask them if they know who this is.
Well, what are the sisters gonna do? The sisters have no power. The sisters have been trying. The sisters have been trying to find the killer of. For years, the sisters have been stonewalled.
All they would have to do is call you, and if they know that that's Hazel, whatever her last name was back then.
Yeah, what was it? What is Hazel? What was? I've never known what Auntie Hazel's maiden name was. Do you? Like, do you have any idea what her maiden name is?
I was trying to think of it. I couldn't think of it.
I've never known what Auntie Hazel's maiden name was.
Well, if you look up Hazel Bridges, Google Hazel Bridges, it should be in her mother's obituary.
What was Hazel's mother's name?
I don't know. But if you just did Hazel Bridges, because her mom died not too long ago, like 10 years ago.
Well, I've looked up Hazel Bridges on Google. I didn't find anything.
Did you change it to web?
Yeah, well, like what would I look up? Hazel Bridges, and then that would how would that? You think that I'd be able to find some information about her mom by looking up Hazel Bridges? I looked. I couldn't find anything.
The name Hazel Bridges will be in the obituary as surviving family members, and then you'll know the maiden name.
Do you Ken? Does anybody in our family have a Wikipedia page or like a Wiki? Like, like when you search up people, like they have Wikipedia pages and stuff like that. Isn't that funny how like I don't really know how those ever get started or whatever, but apparently you can just like if you're famous enough, and if you've usually it's for famous musicians and stuff have Wikipedia pages and stuff, right? Or just people who are I guess who are successful have people who are successful, I guess, have Wikipedia pages, but there's nothing on the internet about my dad. There's no Wikipedia page about my dad. I guess police officers don't have Wikipedia pages. They like to keep it all secret, I guess, because if I was involved in a bunch of fucking high crimes, I'd want to keep it secret too. It's funny though. I always kind of wondered that. I was like, have you ever thought of that, Ken? Did you ever think I wonder if one day I'll have Ken? Do you ever think that for yourself? That one day you would have a Wikipedia page or something? Because it's not just for you. It's not just for musicians and actors. Like, like Donald Trump's got a huge Wikipedia page, right? Holy shit, he's probably got a. No, is it Wikipedia? Yeah, Wikipedia. Yeah.
Right.
So you're coming out to visit, hey Ken, or?
Oh, sometime, yeah. Don't know when.
Yeah, like I might quit smoking. Like I might quit smoking, but
You should.
huh? Yeah, my lungs are. Yeah, mine. Like I don't know. The more you smoke, like the less lung function you have, right? And then you get to a point probably when you're really old there, where you're just like you got no lung function left, and then you can't even take a breath, and you freaking suffocate. I get that and stuff, but just yeah, like oh man, I mean I don't know what to do about this, Ken. I mean, at least I got you to talk to about this, but I feel like I feel like it's me against the world right now. You know?
I understand that, and what I think you do is take that photo of who you think is legal and your mom,
Yeah.
send it to the sisters, and ask them if they've been able to identify who these two girls are.
Well, I think I did contact well, I did look them up. And like I called Crime Stoppers, and that place is a joke. Like it's friggin' they didn't want to help me at all. The police didn't want to help me at all. So if the police don't want to help me and Crime Stoppers doesn't want to help me, then what are these sisters going to be able to do? They haven't gotten anywhere with this case, and it's over 60 years old.
If that picture was just in their sister's photo album and they posted it on there and they haven't been able to identify them, you might be the missing link.
Well, but what then though? Like, who's gonna help them though? Are the police gonna help them? No, the police are not gonna help them, because the police are like involved in a major cover up. They like I actually I looked on Google and I looked for if there was any AI programs that could actually do like I looked up like photo ident or like picture analysis, picture identifiers and stuff, and I uploaded the pictures. But they didn't really produce any actual information. But you think that like maybe like an AI software program should be able to look at a photo and then look at another photo and like kind of figure out if it's the same person or not, right?
Right.
But yeah, I didn't get anywhere with that either. But yeah, like I mean, I'll try. I'll look up the sisters, see if I can find their names. I don't know if they're still. Some of them might be still alive, I guess. But like,
They have a fucking webpage with that picture on it.
yeah. Well, you have the link to the page, or I'll look for it again. But yeah, like I'd like to talk to
I
um
don't even remember what the fucking girl's name was that was murdered.
Alex. Well, I can't really pronounce her last name, but it was Alexandra Wiwichuk. It was Wiwaruk or something, UCH or something. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
I got it. Yeah.
um,
Phoenix, 1962 disappearance. Now, where's justiceforalex.net? So look up justiceforalex.net. And that picture that you've been on this page.
is that the page that well, the way that when I found those photos, I was like, I can't remember if I was in Yahoo or Google Photos or Images, and I was just scrolling through the images of similar photographs and stuff, and then And yeah, like I can't remember which page it was
It was on
from, but
Johnny Cash. Yeah, so justiceforalex.net. And if you go into the photo gallery, all those photos are in there.
okay, I'll take a look. Yeah. Um. Well, if you get a chance, Ken, watch that thing I sent you. And
But that ain't Hazel. The more I look at it, the more I see that it ain't Hazel.
well,
I'm not sure if you.
why would you say that?
Well, you can have a look at the girl. She's in a bathrobe, no makeup, underneath, like sitting beside a Christmas tree
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Alex.
Well, she had makeup on.
Well, on the bed, but not in this photo. Right next to it.
You have to send me the link because I only have the two photos, but what if I find a photo of Alex and Uncle Dennis? Oh my God. Then everybody would be like, "Oh, that's not Uncle Dennis. That's not Uncle Dennis."
Well, he was pretty easy to.
I mean, um, yeah, like it can't be anybody else because if it was somebody else, who was it? You know, and why do these two people look so much like my aunt and my mom? You know.
Was Hazel living in Saskatoon at that time? I think she was still in Tisdale in 1962.
Well, I mean that's kind of. I mean, I'm just going by what I see as and like who I think that person is, and I don't. I mean, you know, people could say, oh well, she wasn't there at the time or whatever, and we have no way of knowing, you know, like whether they're telling the truth about that or not. Like they're probably gonna do more to say that it's to not them or whatever, but yeah, no, I was surprised like because like when I saw like yeah like Carla didn't like I didn't tell her that I thought that was Auntie Hazel, but yeah she didn't she didn't know who it was. She goes, is that Lori? I'm like, oh frig. But yeah, yeah, she could. Yeah, Carla couldn't pick out. She didn't know that if that was my mom or she didn't suggest that was my mom or my Auntie Hazel or whatever. And I was just like, well, I mean, I think it is. I mean, I'll be the first if I'm mistaken. You know, I'll be the first one to admit that I was wrong or whatever.
So
But I don't see. There's nothing that.
I just sent you a photo
Yeah.
of that girl without the makeup. She has the space between her teeth.
Okay.
It's the same one, and that's not Hazel.
Okay, let me check here. Hang on. Oh, the one you sent me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not Auntie. That's a different person.
No, with the space between the teeth. That's the one. Big eyes.
Oh, wait a sec here. Yeah, I mean, it could be Auntie Hazel. I mean, like, it does kind of.
So if you look at her wedding photo, that was 1969. Were they married? 1970.
Yeah, this one here, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really look like her. It doesn't look like Auntie Hazel in that photo, but, um, yeah, that doesn't, yeah, I mean,
That's the same chick that's in underneath the beatniks photo.
I mean, if you look at the chin, I mean, Auntie Hazel doesn't have like a double chin, and this girl doesn't have a double chin. But if you look at the shape of the jaw, I mean, Auntie Hazel's got a jaw that kind of looks like that shape, you know. But yeah, like I honestly, if I saw like the photo you just sent me, if I saw that, yeah, I would not think that was that Auntie Hazel. It was the other photo that I thought was Auntie Hazel. Yeah.
Right, where she's looking. So let me pull the picture wedding photo up over. Oh, she's fine.
But yeah, like why didn't my dad just say, okay, go ahead, show them to Tanya and Terrell, and if you wanna, you know, make a fool of yourself or whatever, go ahead. But my dad didn't say that, you know. He said, don't. He said, don't you dare show that to Auntie Hazel, or not to Auntie Hazel, to Tanya and Terrell. And he goes, and then he goes, why are you bringing this up? He says. What the fuck does it matter if I'm bringing it up or not? You're a cop. You're an ex-cop. You should wanna talk about things like murder and stuff. You know, it's part of being a police officer. You know, like you know, if every time I want to talk about murder, then everybody thinks I'm crazy or whatever. No, it means I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. You know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's like yeah. Well, Ken. Yeah, I was hoping that you had a chance to watch that video I sent you because I really just kind of sat down in my room and I pretty much went on a rant about like yeah like the police and everything and I don't know like I like to watch it sometimes because you know like I feel like it's hard for me to you know get my point across sometimes you know because I got so many things on my mind at once that I don't know really where to start with stuff and so I end up spitting out sentence fragments sometimes and stuff and yeah like it's but yeah I just sat down and in front of my computer and I did a little like song analysis and stuff and I talk about that Bob Dylan song Hurricane about a guy who's wrongfully convicted in the states of a murder and and yeah that song it talks about you know how like the police friggin sent the wrong guy to jail or whatever and so I thought it was relevant so I talk about that a little bit and yeah no I just like I don't know yeah if you get a chance I think you'll like it Ken um like I don't like there's gonna be like I'm gonna probably you know I'm always like trying to figure out like new stuff and stuff but like like when you're looking at like a photo and you see someone that looks like your mom who's and you think okay well your dad must be the one taking the photograph because he's the boyfriend of the other girl that's in the photograph so he was the boyfriend at the time and then my dad says oh well I didn't know about any of her ex-boyfriends that might have murdered her or something like that. Well, this is here. How about let's do this, Ken? Like, let's just pretend like you're my dad for a second, and because I'm gonna ask my dad some questions, and I'm gonna say, you know, like I would say, Dad, like, you know, in 1959 or whatever, you knew Alex in 1959, like, right, like, because this was like 2 or 3 years before she was murdered, and so he'll probably say, yeah, I knew her then,
Yeah.
and you said, well, she was obviously hanging out with with two people that look a lot like Auntie Hazel and Brenda Bridges, and and you're saying that those are different people. That's what my dad's saying, is that those are different people than what it looks to me like. And
Right.
so where if I was to ask my dad who are these people, and he says I don't know, does that sound like a logical thing, like to not know who two people are that are hanging out with a girl that was your girlfriend, um, and they look exactly like two other people that you know,
You're,
like your future wife and your future sister-in-law, you know?
you're also asking your dad to recognize somebody from 60 fucking years ago.
Well,
And you think,
yeah, but no, I'm just saying that at 60 years ago, my dad, knew, my 60 years ago when they were doing investigations and stuff. Why is it that the whole police force couldn't determine who those two girls are? Why could they not figure out who those two girls are? I think they did. They did it by design because they were covering up for it, and that they were responsible. That's the only logical explanation I can think of. Because it's just supposed to be like a mystery. Like these two girls are. It's not a mystery to me. I think one of them is my mom and one of them is my aunt, and I mean that's enough for me. I don't need to compare pictures. I know what my mom looks like. I know what my mom would look like when she's 12. If I was scrolling through a magazine, I saw a picture of Axl Rose, even though his hair's covering his ears and stuff and the side of his face or whatever, I'd still know it was Axl Rose. You know, I wouldn't need it. I wouldn't need it to say, oh, this is Axl Rose, because I know what Axl Rose looks like. So I wouldn't need to know that. And then so when it comes to me identifying two other people that I know, what everybody's telling me that's not them. Well, then something's wrong, and the people that are telling me that that's not them are part of the problem.
well, I don't think that's them. I hope that I'm not part of the problem. I'm, I'm, what I'm saying is I think you may be on the wrong track. Now, if you were to take that photo and send it to the sisters, like I said, they have an email address on that website, and say, do you guys know these women? Because
Why would I ask why would I ask the sisters if they knew if they know if this is my mom or not? I know what my mom's looks like a lot more than these sisters know what my mom looks like.
it's posted on their fucking website, Craig. They ought to know who those people are in those photos, and if they don't, that's what I'm saying.
Well, why would they know who those girls are if they don't the sisters wouldn't necessarily know who Alex was friends with. But she was friends with my dad, and then the connection with that is, well, there's Brenda Bridges is in the car, Hazel Bridges is in the car, um, sorry, on the bed. Hazel Bridges is on the bed, and yeah, I mean, like if it's not them, then what are the odds that there's going to be two people that look exactly like two other people that are hanging out with a girl that was murdered, that just happened to have been the girlfriend of my dad at the time? It just we're getting into like serious, like we're starting to, like the odds of that, the odds of those two being different people, then it's like, oh, well, then who are they then? Well, nobody knows. Well, nobody knows. Isn't that funny? Nobody knows who these two girls are. You know, the police department purposely covered this up. You know, um,
I think all the conclusions are coming from this is my mom. And I disagree. I don't think it is. I don't think the eyes are right.
well, you said to me the first, like a while back, you said, well, the black and white photograph is probably your mom, and I never told you that I thought it was my mom or whatever, but you said it was probably your mom, and then you figure out if Auntie Hazel, you couldn't figure out who that was or whatever, but
So here's a picture of your mom probably when she's 18. She looks like she's dressed up for prom. I'm just trying to
I
find a
mean, you
picture.
look at the nose, and that's like my mom's nose is very identifiable, very identifiable. You know, I looked through the picture and I said to my dad, I was like, to my parents, I was like, does it even resemble mom? And they said, no, it doesn't even resemble her. Well, what the fuck, you know? Well, like I wasn't like I was showing them a picture of an Asian girl or something, you know?
Right. Oh, that's a terrible photo. That's your mom.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny that the photos that my mom sent me of her at that age, she didn't even look like she had curly hair. Well, it takes a lot of effort to curl your hair, you know, so if you have straight hair. You know, and why would you curl your hair if you have straight hair, you know? Like black people are always trying to straighten their hair, you know, and
Right.
white people are always trying to curl their hair, you know? It's stupid, you know.
That's right.
Um but
Okay, well, there's another good one. I have some photos that I'm going to send you.
okay.
Um, I just need a better one of Hazel.
Well, like I don't really when people start saying, well, why don't you compare some photos? Well, if I was to compare photos of them when they've purposely disguised themselves so they don't look like themselves, well, then that doesn't help at all, you know? I mean, like when people say to me like oh, well, why don't you try to compare some pictures of your mom at that age? I'm like, I don't need to compare photos. I know what my mom looks like. I've been staring at her my whole life. You know, like frig.
I'm just hoping that, I don't know, I'm just hoping that you're not forcing the likeness. You know what I mean? Like, to make this whole thing happen.
Why would I force it? Do you think I want my parents to go to jail when they're innocent? If they're innocent, do you think I want to send my parents to jail? Think I want to send my parents to the
No,
electric chair just for the hell of it? No, I'm not like that. I believe in truth and I believe in justice and I believe in the American way, not the fucking Canadian way. Fuck Canada. I want to get out of this corrupt place. You know, so goddamn corrupt.
yeah, you're right. It is.
They can't even the police can't even figure out who those two girls are in the picture. Give me a break. Fuck, they can't. They like what is photo evidence not admissible in Saskatchewan anymore? Give me a break. The police are above the law. That's what it is, and they're a bunch of murderous thugs and rapists and pedophiles, as far as I'm concerned, because they're all helping each other out, and that's what I see. Like that's and Anytime like I talk to my dad about hockey or something, everything's fine. But once I start bringing up, like, digging up the past and bringing up this old murder and stuff like that, my dad starts saying I'm delusional, I'm crazy. I go, how am I paranoid? How am I delusional, Dad? And he says, well, because you're accusing us of murder. Oh, so I guess that's your only response, eh? Like, that's your only, thing is just to discredit the person who's, trying to put a stop to senseless violence and, yeah, like erasing someone's life, you know?
Yeah. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's grandma.
I mean, they basically took, like, whoever did it. Who are you talking to?
My coworker.
Oh, okay. Whoever did it is obviously, like I said to my dad, like I said, why, Dad, why did they send the wrong guy to jail or whatever? And I said to my dad, I said, it was probably the killer. Probably, it was very helpful to the killer to send an innocent man to jail, because then it would help the killer to get away with murder, right? And the police did that. The police fucking basically fucking railroaded this guy. Like forced a not a confession, but forced his friends to testify against him or whatever. And like, they just think of, imagine being innocent and going to jail and just getting horrific treatment in jail. Like, David Milgaard was gang raped in jail like several times, you know. Uh, and Imagine being innocent and having to go through all that while the killer is getting away, and the killer is also, he's got the confidence to get away with these crimes because he's not getting caught, and it's just reinforcing his ability to get away with more and more crimes. So I think, I think my dad's a fucking serial killer and a fucking serial rapist, Ken. I don't care who you say. I don't care who you tell. Because he was definitely, they didn't, being that close to these nurses, the police didn't do anything to protect them, my dad did nothing to protect his girlfriend, who if anything, he's just, he's no, I just think it's funny, like, cause, like, like that.